So we can make mistakes, right?
Yeah.
You can do
that. To be honest,
I was a little bit worried about that part. You know, it's like, oh fuck, if it's in a live,
weird, really.
tough.
No, it's part of the podcast. To be honest, you know, the edit.
You are going live.
No. Just double check them. 145 because I lose track of where we're up to now. We've done that many. 145 we had Birmingham. 146 last week we had Holland. So we are podcast 147.
I think. Yeah. I think you put it on here also. Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good when I'm doing my preparation, and then we get in the booth and I forget it all.
NPK, the NPK show. NPK to all the viewers around the world. You're watching the NPK show.
So, podcast 147. We have Jan and Dani from Greenhouse Powder Feeds.
Greenhouse feeding.
Greenhouse feeding.
Greenhouse seeds.
Strain hunters,
everything.
A full package. Anyone that doesn't know, Arjan from Strain Hunters, you may have seen him on YouTube. If you're into the industry, you'll definitely know Arjan. He's the billionaire of bud. That's the nickname a lot of people have called him.
Yeah, or the king of cannabis.
The king of cannabis. Yeah. We've told a little bit of a lie, though, haven't we? Dani's just a pseudonym. It's actually Antonio Banderas has joined us in the podcast this week. He's given up acting, and he's now the lead researcher, the lead grower, the chemical formulator for greenhouse feeding. How are you, Antonio Banderas?
I'm fine. I am the booze. I'm fine.
I didn't know how to bring it up that you sound identical to Antonio Banderas. I thought I'd just go for it.
It's the first time I heard that.
It's going to make for a really... I think our female listeners may skyrocket this on this
good,
week.
Yeah.
We've got
there are a lot of good female growers, so...
Yeah,
good,
it's good. Yeah. We need to get more female listeners. And you know what? I've never had a message. I've had 2 or 3, but we don't. 20% of our subscribers are female, so I want to get some female messages, and then I can put it all down to Dani's Antonio Banderas voice.
That's very funny.
Listen, before we get into the podcast, we were chatting outside, and something came up that I think is probably the most important thing that we're going to get out of this podcast, and it's the main man, Arjan. The one who put all this together, who brought it all together. And I wanted to sort of dispel some myths that maybe some people believe because he's the inverted commas, he's the king of cannabis, he's the billionaire of bud. And with those names come visions of sitting on yachts, always being in the fanciest restaurants and jet setting around the world on first class private jets and getting everybody else to do the work. That I imagine that's what a lot of people think, but from what you were telling me, I didn't believe that because no good company works when that's the truth, and he's letting all the workers doing the work. I knew that Arjan worked hard. I actually didn't understand how hard he works, and Dani and Jan were telling me just how much he's been working throughout his life, but especially over the last year. And I just want to get back into that conversation again. Yeah. You were saying that 16-hour days, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, it's non-stop.
Non-stop. Yeah. It's full gas, as Franco said.
Full gas.
Full gas. Yeah. Always, every day, every second, every minute. It's his life, man. Yeah, I never saw, as I told you before, I never saw anybody working so hard like that.
Yeah.
Really.
There was a funny story about him being on the plane. Again, where was he sitting on the plane? What plane was it? It wasn't private jet, was it?
Oh, no. Probably people think that he's flying in a jet plane or something like that, in a private jet plane. No, it's not that the case. Not at all. No. So we were flying from Barcelona straight to New York because we have some meetings there, and we had also a transfer to another country. So I remember we were in the plane, and I never saw Arjan flying in business class or first class. Never in my life. And I've been traveling with him some flights. And we were in economy class, flying there, and the airplane was full of turbulence the whole flight. And the guy just was sitting in the middle of everybody, just reading a book, sleeping, like nothing, really in economy class.
Yeah.
So we are talking about somebody that has the money enough to go to first class. So I asked him, it's like, I was surprised. And it's like, Arjan, why you don't go first class, business class? He's like, man, it's just, for me, it's the same to be there. Why I'm going to pay like $2,000 extra to just be seated on a seat and sleep or read or whatever? I'm going to do the same on economy class. So explains to me a lot of things from Arjan.
About his character as well.
About his character. Of course, he can be in a fancy restaurants and everything, but he always says like, work hard, play hard.
Yeah.
So he deserves it, of course.
I can imagine for him to turn around and say, listen, the light that I need to read my book and sleep is exactly the same type of light that you get on first class or on your own private jet.
Yeah.
So that's it.
That's it.
And you were saying he's like the most efficient person working that you've ever met.
Ever.
So
it's incredible because he can be in a lot of projects at the same time, and the time that takes to do everything, it's just incredible. Like for any other human being, it will be really takes a lot of time to do that. But for him, he make it possible, and because he's working hard. Every time. Every time. Doesn't matter if he's in the other side of the wall or if he's in Europe or United States. Doesn't matter. He's aware of everything of his business. Always. He's not sitting in his palace like many people think. Never. He's always working. Even when he's at home, he's always working. I never saw the guy stopping. Never.
Even on holiday, he's always on his phone.
Always.
Yeah, just checking on things and keeping control and... Maybe even, in my opinion, he should slow down sometimes. Because sometimes you need the rest. But that's just how he is. He did it for so many years like that.
You cannot grow up
a complete working.
You cannot grow up a company like that. We are a worldwide company, and you cannot be seated on your couch, and just enjoying the life like that.
Expecting everyone else to work as hard as you.
Yeah,
and
you have to work hard.
Yeah,
and that's what he made.
The example.
Yeah. Another thing that you said, it's probably. Without actually knowing the person, it's probably the best way to know the person. And that's how he treats his staff. And then again, this one didn't really surprise me because I imagine he treats his staff really good because you all work really hard for him. But like you were saying, that he always makes sure that never eat at McDonald's, otherwise you don't get the bills paid.
Never. Yeah, right. Yeah. That's true story.
Yeah.
They told me if you present a ticket to the company of McDonald's, we are not going to pay it. You should take your time to go and have a good lunch, because we need you to take a rest. So that's more productive at the end of the day.
And don't stay in crappy hotels. Make sure you stay in good hotels.
Yeah, always. Taking a rest for them is also very important because they know that if you work hard, you have to play hard.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So they want you to be always 100%, You cannot be 50% because last night you were not sleeping very well, because the hotel or whatever. No, they want you to always take a rest. So they take care a lot of all the stuff. Yeah, man.
I think that's a brilliant introduction for greenhouse feeding and the company as a whole, because again, I didn't think he was lazy. Definitely not. I didn't think he sat in his palace, but I honestly didn't think he worked as hard as you've told us he does. I thought he's worked hard for the last 20 years, built up a big company. He's done very well from it, and now he enjoys the rewards from building up a big company, and now other people run it. But it shocked me how hard he says he works.
If I have to be honest, he enjoys working.
Yeah,
that's
you've got to, haven't you? You've got to work that hard. You've got to enjoy it. And we were saying last week on the podcast that we were given like life tips as well. It rolled into life tips somehow on this Hydroponics podcast. And we were saying, no matter what you do, if you can choose what you do in life, do something you're passionate about, because when it becomes too hard and you become stressed, if it's something you don't enjoy, you're going to give up. If you're passionate about it, you'll fight through the hard work, you'll fight through the stressful times, and you'll come out successful.
Yeah, I think that's an example of every big company or successful person. They do it with a passion.
Yeah.
And because they do it passionate, they are successful.
Yeah.
That's just the recipe.
That's it. There's a recipe for success. Yeah. And so now that you know a little bit about the company, about the owner who's working his backside off to make it a success, even more successful than it is, I actually a little bit excited about greenhouse feeding, seeing as the owner's working that hard. And I've met Dani properly today for the first time. We met in Spanibus, but today we've had a good chat. Seeing a little bit of the team, I think greenhouse feeding's got a really bright future. I think we need to talk a little bit about an introduction to your team, greenhouse feeding, what you do, Dani. We all know what Jan does. He comes and has cups of coffee and talks about how great the products are. But I want to understand a little bit about what you do. And I'm going to get Coatsy to shut that booth door for me. And then it's going to be really super quiet and we can get into the podcast. Okay, so greenhouse feeding, in a nutshell, it's powdered feed. It's in the name, but it's very, very pure quality, easy to use powdered feeding. There's mineral and there's bio, and that's basically the products that we're talking about today. But let's go back to Dani. What's your job at greenhouse?
What I do in greenhouse actually is I try to design new products, that they are gonna, like all the organic line. It has been designed by me and of course by all the team of greenhouse feeding. We are always a team. And what I do also is consulting and trying to promote the product everywhere. So that's why I'm doing actually designing products. Yeah.
What came first? Was it the mineral came first, and the mineral side of the powder feed?
The mineral was made already when I started with greenhouse feeding, but they just hire me because they need a professional, somebody expertise on the feeding. Yeah. So we were doing all these things, and then we create more products. We develop more products for the whole line.
Yeah, excellent. So the organic line is completely yourself, isn't it? That's like you and your team help develop the organic line.
Yep.
Excellent. We're gonna come on to the range, and I want to get into because the greenhouse pride itself on being really pure, and we've seen some of the results as well from that feeding under LEDs, phenomenal quality. I'm really excited about using it. With some of the samples that Jan's left, we've sent to the giant vegetable growers using it in the UK. So they're about to come into a really busy period. So I'm going to get some good feedback off those guys.
Thank you.
The history about greenhouse, though, where did it all start? I'm going to pass over to Jan. What was the beginning of greenhouse?
I think greenhouse, as the greenhouse seed company and the coffee shops, most people know that story a little bit. So I'll just go into the greenhouse feeding. Which is a result of the greenhouse seed company. Arjan and Franco used to grow with any brand of nutrients that is out there. Yeah. And at some point, they just said, we are never really satisfied with the results and the ease of use. So they started developing own formulation. And what it came up to is they said, we want to go to powder because liquids, it's just too difficult, too complicated. Yeah. So they developed the 4 products that we started with, and that is our base nutrients of the mineral line. Just for our own production. And used it for many years and had good results with that. Yeah. And at some point we just said, okay, maybe it's a good thing to make that available to the public, because then we can make more people grow more easily. Yeah. So beginners that don't know how to grow can use our products and have good results. That's how it just started, basically.
So when you say that Arjan and Franco were using it, this isn't like 10 lights over 20 plants. This is big commercial facilities.
This is for the seed production. Yes. It's a big, used to be a big factory. Yes.
500 lights. I know that they're working on some projects at the moment with a lot of lights, aren't they?
Now, where the times are changing and we work on legal projects in Canada, we can say there, I think it's 500 lights.
540.
540, okay. Yeah. About the past, we cannot talk about it because of the legality. It's a bit difficult subject.
Yeah, man. They've got. I know Arjan mentioned in the podcast we did at Spanibus the project in the Congo, but because Arjan's a busy guy and it was Spanibus, I didn't really manage to get into what was going on in the Congo and the project there. Do you guys know much about that project and what the aims of it are?
It started, Franco started the project basically, and we are working together with the government there. And it's a project to produce oil from cannabis to treat malaria and other diseases. And we lost a good friend and colleague there to malaria. And now that's also at that time, because that happened, Arjan stepped in, and that project is his baby now.
Yeah.
We're going full gas on that, and trying to help the poorest people on the planet, basically, with cannabis, with providing cannabis oil.
Wow, it's some project that, it's some project, and I look.
Sorry, it's a little bit more involved than just that, but just to keep it short, this is how it started, and it's a lot of work to do together with the government, universities, doctors. So it's a big thing, really.
Yeah, and there's not many people in the world better equipped with the amount of knowledge than Arjan and his team. So very hopeful about that product, and from us at NPK and the podcast, wish you all the best of luck with that project, because you've got phenomenal. It's just a phenomenal project, and I wish you the best of luck with it. So for the listeners that want to go powder, we had the guys from Veg Bloom over from the US. That powder feed's doing very well in the US. We've got Greenhouse. It's a bigger brand in Europe and in the UK. So, and it's much easier to get your hands on at the moment. So if you're looking to go powdered, let's go to Greenhouse. And we've got plenty of samples in the shop. Head over to us. If you direct message us on Instagram at @NPK_hydroponics, we can even get some samples sent out to you guys if you want to try it out. What countries is the Greenhouse powdered feed available in at the moment?
At the moment, we are available in all over Europe, basically, in the USA and Canada, Argentina, Chile, Uruguay, Australia, New Zealand,
Japan too.
Russia, South Africa, even Israel.
China,
Bonaire, some islands,
China also,
Morocco,
really.
The whole Balkan, Mexico. So I think
okay. Let's stop. Let's stop. What countries are we not available in? That will be better.
That's a difficult one.
Yeah, because they're so small.
Really want to, you can get it everywhere.
That went on for a bit. You've pretty much covered nearly every country in the world there. So if you want to try it out, then it's available in all countries. It seems like
in all continents at least.
In all continents at least, yeah. So we understand why Greenhouse Feeding wants to do a nutrient, and you've given a great answer, and it's because Arjan and Franco wanted something that worked for them.
Yes.
They didn't come out with a nutrient range that they wanted to sell straight away. They didn't make it for people to buy. They made it for themselves, and that's always the best start for a company. It's always best for a product to appear, to come up or be needed by a person. It work well for them, and then they go, hang on a minute, this is really good. I'm going to open it up for worldwide access and let other people try it out as well.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, and it's the best way for a company to start, because it's real, it's legit.
Yep.
It's not being made for commercial purposes in terms of it wasn't made to make money. It was made
not at the beginning.
Yeah,
not at the beginning.
It evolves in a real company.
But it was not the purpose. Yeah. It was not the purpose of that. No. The purpose was to
have a feed that works for us, for our production. And
because Greenhouse is a worldwide company, and they don't want to be transporting water, liquids all around the country. So if you've got projects in the Congo, you've got projects in the US, in Europe, all over the world. I can imagine it basically came down to a business decision for Arjan, where he was like, I'm not paying thousands of pounds to transport liquids all around the globe. I need to come up with a really good powdered feed.
Yep.
And that's what I think it probably came down to as well, didn't it?
Of course, it's always a point, the transport cost, but the main point is really the ease of use. Yeah. Because with the liquids, Dani can probably tell a bit more about that, but you always have to have different bottles. And with the main 4 products we started, you can basically use one product from start to end.
Yeah, that's something you've made. You've raised a really good point, and the amount of products in the mineral and the bio range. There's in the bio range, it's grow, bloom, enhancer, and potentially you can use the calcium if you need it.
I don't think you need it.
No, that's more for the mineral side.
That's already calcium it's actually NPK, calcium, magnesium, and trace elements already on the bio grow and bio bloom. So you don't really need to add CalMag or something.
So it's literally a grow, a bloom, and an enhancer.
That's it.
So the point for me to make is that people are used to 7, 8, 9, 10, some companies 20 bottles that they have in their liquid range. And the problem when you make, and we're talking chemically now, chemical salts, and you mix them with water, is that certain salts react with each other. So you have to separate them. That's why we have an A and a B in our cocoa range. That's why you have PK separate from CalMags, so on and so forth. You don't want them to react with each other during storage.
Yeah, that's actually in the mineral line. We decided to make it completely different from the rest of the world. So if you try to find out something similar like us, you won't find it.
Yeah.
Because normally all the brands, they do 3 parts product, cocoa A, cocoa B, for example. Yeah. And then a PK booster. Yeah. Or they have a CalMag. Yeah. Normally they have to supply a little bit with the CalMag. Or then you have the other ones with their Grow, Flora, Micro. Yeah. But they are also separate. That happens for one thing. It's always because of the calcium. Yeah. Calcium is an element that have more antagonism with the rest of nutrients and elements than any other. Yeah. It's one of the most. So most of the brands, what they use to add calcium, it's calcium nitrate, which is a really cheap salt. Yeah. You know, it's the cheapest way to add calcium to the plants. Okay. But what they don't tell you is that this calcium nitrate, it's partially incompatible with other ingredients from the bottle, you know, like monopotassium phosphate or potassium sulfate or magnesium sulfate even. Yeah. So for an agriculture engineer like me who knows a little bit about chemistry, you know, I'm not going to say that.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, you know. Doesn't make a sense at all to mix all these raw materials, all these ingredients in different bottles, but then in the tank they are mixed. Yeah. So that it means that they are going to precipitate. So you are not getting 100% of the calcium or the phosphorus or the magnesium. And that's, these are really important elements for plants. So I'm feeding the plant, but actually I'm throwing the nutrient away because the plant cannot take it. Because they react between them and they precipitate and they are not available anymore for the plants. Yeah. So, and then you have clogging systems like pumps or the meters. You clog them because you have these big salts that they cannot be diluted in water. Yeah. And that's normally it's calcium sulfate or it's calcium and phosphorus, you know. So we do completely different. So in our whole range of nutrients, you will find that NPK, magnesium, but no calcium in the product. Yeah. We don't put calcium in our products. So if you have hard water, you don't need our calcium. Yeah. But if you have really soft water, we have our own calcium, which is chelated. Yeah. It's probably the only chelated calcium that you'll find in this industry. Okay. And what it means is like this calcium is completely protected. So it cannot react with any other nutrient. No with the phosphorus, no with the potassium, or no with anything. So you have 100% available calcium. And the phosphorus that you have, or the magnesium, or the potassium that you have, is 100% available. They don't compete between each other. They are not antagonists anymore because they are protected by the chelated. Okay. So that makes us really unique because you cannot see that in any other brand of the world.
It's just so much more available than anything else.
For us, you have to understand that it costs us a lot of money to produce chelated calcium because it's expensive. And that's why one of the reasons nobody else is doing it. So we don't take a lot of margin of benefit on that, on the calcium, but we prefer to do it like that because it's more pure, it's more clean, and makes more sense. Yeah. It's more efficient. As I told you, we are a company that try to be as much as possible efficient. Yeah. And that makes that product the most efficient product.
Yeah. There's 2 things there. You mentioned precipitation. For anyone that doesn't understand this, what you will see in the tank is as you mix your nutrients, you'll tend to see like a cloudy appearance in the water, and this is essentially the calcium's being locked up. It'll eventually drop to the bottom, and it's too big of a molecule to be uptaken by plants, so we call it locked out, nutrient lockout. And this is, you may have heard this as well, you get nutrient lockout when you start playing too much with your nutrients, not mix them correctly, and that sort of stuff. So sometimes you get a little bit of cloudiness. It's not the end of the world, but if your water butt is really cloudy, then it's probably best just to get rid and start again, and maybe look at the way you're mixing your nutrients.
Completely.
Because if you are using liquids, then this can happen, and you don't want lockout. No. And the second thing to say about these interactions is if you go onto Google, search onto Google, click on images and type in Mulder's nutrient interaction chart. It's a circle and it's got lots of arrows pointing all over to nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium. And you see antagonistic arrows, and what's the other word? Antagonistic.
Antagonism and synergism.
That's the word, synergism. So nutrients work together well, and will help the uptake of nutrients, and other nutrients will compete and stop other nutrients from getting in. So, and if you look at that chart, you'll be able to see how complex nutrients really are.
It is actually complex, because what you need to understand a little bit is that all these nutrients has to be on a balance, to be in a synergism. Otherwise, they are going to be antagonists.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. And for example, in that's another point of our PK booster, actually. Our PK booster is a little bit different from all the rest of the PKs. We don't have also nitrogen, but there is also magnesium and trace elements. Okay, why we made that? Because if you increase PK, it happens two things. You are increasing potassium, but potassium is antagonist of other nutrients like magnesium, for example. But you need to increase also the rest. And here comes the minimum of lows. The low of the minimum. Probably you heard about that.
Yes. Liebig's law of the minimum.
So most of the people, they understand that when they have a lack of nutrient, but they don't understand when they increase it in the PK, you still have the magnesium as a limit and nutrient. So if you don't increase the magnesium, calcium, and the other micronutrients, you still limit. So that's why we put in our PK booster magnesium and trace element, and our calcium is completely separate, so you can also increase. So if you see our schedule, you will see that the PK booster is increasing in the special weeks 5, 6, 7, but also the calcium.
Okay.
So
that's all to do with the ratios of
everything is always balanced. That's how you keep a health plant. Otherwise, what will happen is like you increase the PKs, but the calcium interacts with the monopotassium phosphate. So I always recommend to everybody, never buy something that has nitrate calcium with monopotassium phosphate at the same time.
In the same bottle.
In the same bottle, or even in the different bottles that you have to mix. It's a little bit more safe if they are separate.
Diluted,
but if they are together in the same bottle, probably it's a little bit a problem. So you will probably experience a lack of magnesium.
So that's calcium nitrate and
monopotassium phosphate. Also happens the calcium nitrate with the magnesium sulfate and potassium sulfate. They are partially incompatible.
So have a look at the back of your bottles. If those ingredients, if those salts are in the bottle, in the same bottle, then maybe think, are your plants healthy? Is everything going smoothly for you? If there are some issues, maybe consider switching brands, try a different base nutrient or try a different range of nutrients and see if that solves the problem. Better still, just come and get some samples of greenhouse feeding and definitely...
And forget about any lack of nutrients.
Completely. That I really enjoyed the Liebig's law of the minimum, and the way I visualize it is a wooden casket.
Completely,
So if everything's at 100%, this wooden cask can be filled to the top and you can get 100% out of your plants. Now, if you imagine each wooden strip that makes up this wooden casket, if they're all the nutrient elements. So if magnesium is being if it's interacting and it's not being able to be uptaken by the plant, you can imagine that half of this wood is snapped off. So now, even though everything else is at 100%, the water can only fill up to 50% before it starts pouring out. And that's essentially what, how Liebig, I think that's how you say his name, described his law of the minimum. One thing's not quite right, it doesn't matter how good everything else is, it's not going to be 100% ever.
So that's happening with the PK.
Happy days. Now, you in your products in the mineral range, you've got a booster product and it contains all the phosphorus and potassium plus the other minerals like you've just mentioned for enhanced flowering. But what a lot of growers might be wondering is that they use like sugar boosters. So what is in this product? Do you agree plants need the oligosaccharides, the sugars? Are they in that product? Because a lot of people are used to using boosters that are natural plant extracts that can increase uptake. So do you have that in your product?
It's not in the booster PK, but only for one reason. Our mineral line, we decided to do it 100% mineral. So we didn't want to put any organic or any seaweed or anything that comes from vegetables or for animals. So we decided to really be pure, one for hydroponics, really mineral, like always, like the industrial growing. And then another one 100% organic.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of brands that they say that they are organic or they are mineral, but they are actually mixing organics with minerals to get a better results. But we are really pure on that.
Okay.
I think, the plants, you can feed plants with sugars at the end of the crop. But let me tell you one thing. Plants also produce sugars inside. They produce glucose with the photosynthesis. Yeah. So you just have to feed the plants with the balanced nutrients. They will produce the sugars by themselves.
Yeah.
You know, I can show you some pictures with the PK booster that they were. You remember, Jan, this picture on my Instagram that with the drop or molasses, some flowers with the. I will show you later. With drops of molasses because they were producing so much sugar, so they had to expulse all this sugar out.
They're too much.
That's too much, and I was not giving any sugar, any carbohydrates, anything. Just the PK booster. Yeah. So that's why I'm saying you don't really need the sugars. The plants can produce it. You just have to give a really balanced nutrients.
Yeah.
That's it. I like to give sugars, but I'm more on that on organic.
Yeah.
It will come probably in the future. We cannot talk too much about the new products that we are releasing for probably next year.
What about a worldwide exclusive?
Well, we are doing experiments. We are doing a lot of testing, so I don't want to say nothing to nobody and then we don't do it, you know?
Yeah.
When it's ready, we will tell you.
Okay, exactly. Okay. You will be probably one of the first ones, so we can make another podcast.
Yeah, you'll have to come back and do a worldwide exclusive.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
And so we will do that, something similar for the organic line as a PK booster at the end, so we can add sugars. But in the PK booster for mineral lines, we decide just to make it pure mineral.
100% mineral.
100% mineral, yeah. But I agree, you can do it at the end. There is also a problem of that. If the plant gets so much sugars, when you are producing its... that the insects, some pathogens can be more attracted with this plant because the content of sugar in this plant is higher than it should be.
Yeah. So
the plant actually, even that looks healthy, the balance inside there has a lot of sugar in his, let's say, blood. Right?
Yeah.
So it's more attractive. It's like human beings. If there's more, they say, sweetie blood, the mosquito will go for you, not to your partner, right?
Yeah.
So same happens a little bit with the plants. If they have more sugar content, they can be more attracted by insects, by other pathogens like powdery mildew, spider mites, bugs. So it depends. You have to understand a little bit the plant and to read the plant to know if it's important to give a little bit sugars or not, because you can be in a trouble.
Yeah.
You know, especially at the end of the crop, you don't want to have powdery mildew or mold or anything, you know. So that's a little bit why I want to do organic with really balanced nutrients and really mineral.
Yeah.
But of course you can do sugars.
If some of the growers want to use the mineral line because they're in hydroponics, flood and drain, DWC, that sort of system, and they wanted, let's say, flood and drain. It's a common system here in the UK, and they wanted to they just love to add that little bit extra. Do you know what I mean? Could they take the enhancer from the bio line and put a little bit into the mineral line?
Yeah, it worked. We were doing also that, and it works also. So they are both compatible.
Okay.
So they can use it also for hydroponic systems like cocoa or whatever. They can use it.
Yeah.
I don't like to mix it, but of course they can.
Yeah, I just know that they will do it. So I just wanted to find out if that was happy for it. You're like, I know that millions of pounds of research have been spent on this powder feed, but I think I should just add this little extra bit more.
I can make it better.
Yeah, I can make it better.
For sure.
So I know that growers will want to use other products. They'll see the enhancer from the bio line, they'll see all the kelp that's in it, they see all the natural goodness, and they'll think, I think I might add that. So just double checking. You are allowed to, but it's not necessary.
I don't think it's really necessary, but I have to be honest, the results with the enhancer, it's incredible.
Yeah.
It's even surprising to me and to everybody on the team. We didn't believe it.
Yeah.
When we created the product, you remember, Jan, we've been talking about that many times. We made testings, everything, but we got surprised, really surprised. Like we were cloning clones with the enhancer in 7 days. Even the most difficult plants that we have in our catalog, it was rooting in 7 days. And we were completely flipping, like, that's not normal. Even the root system was healthy as fuck.
We didn't have to use any hormones or anything.
And
some products in some countries are not available, so...
Yeah, and to make clones, like, you can just see the results in 24 hours. So that's a trick that I can give to my friends, everybody, you know, all around the world. When I do clones, normally what I do is I water the day before with an answer.
Okay, yeah.
And you just see the results next day. So I take the clones next day, I just put it in a glass with water and a little bit an answer for 24 hours there. And then I put it in a Jiffy, whatever you use. It roots really fantastic. I got results even in 5 days, roots.
So the answer's a really good cloning agent as well.
Yeah. And you can use it for the whole crop. And actually, you can use it also to prevent for powdery mildew, spraying the enhancer.
That's what I was going to say. Can we foliar feed with enhancer?
You can foliar feed, and it's incredible, the results, because it just... The powdery mildew sometimes it's just disappear. Yeah, it's because the bacillus that we have, it attacks to the powdery mildew and doesn't let to grow up to develop the powdery mildew. So it's a product that we couldn't imagine how good was, and for me it's my favorite right now. Yeah, really, you can use it in mineral and organic line everywhere.
That's something that people told us. I think in some countries you're not allowed to make those claims. Because it's not a pesticide, just to say that.
Oh, yeah, you are right.
People told us they experienced that.
They experienced that, yeah. We are not allowed to say it, like in the packaging and everything, because otherwise it's a fungicide or it's a pesticide.
It's got to get registered and labeled.
Yeah, exactly. But we noticed that all the people who use it with the spray, they say, man, powdery mildew just disappear.
Yeah. Who was it? It was a couple of weeks ago. I think it was Colin from Mammoth P. He was saying, it outcompetes this and outcompetes that, and it could lead to. It was from Great White, Jim from Great White Plant Success. And I was saying, it means that we could probably prevent or get rid of Pythium using this product. And he's like, I can't say, but some people say that it can. Yeah. And it's just that red tape really annoys me. It's like all this label. I understand it's good for a lot of reasons, but for great organic products that do this naturally, and it's a shame that you can't put it on the products, because what customers will do then, they'll get powdery mildew, they'll maybe have a little bit of a read of the packages to see if there's anything that could potentially help, and it's not allowed to be on the packaging, so you won't see it. So then you go, I'm going to have to go and get this chemical from the shop and try and get and then they're spraying chemicals on the plants. It's a shame, but it's you get enhancer.
Legal thing.
Yeah. Legality.
Right now, the only thing we can say from the enhancer that it helps, that we are allowed, it helps to prevent from root problems, root pathogens. Yeah. Because of the trichoderma and the bacillus.
Yeah, they'll just outcompete.
Yeah, so they compete everything, any pathogen that you have in the soil. So that's the only thing that we are actually allowed, and it's proven. It's tested. Yeah. We made the test, everything, and it works fantastic.
Okay. The mineral line. Some growers like to use mineral in soil because they're not growing organically, but they want to spend less time on monitoring pH, monitoring EC. It's a bit easier.
And they want the both sides, the good things for the both sides. Yeah.
Can they use the mineral line in soil?
Yeah, actually we are doing that on some countries, in some facilities. We are doing the mineral line in soil. Yeah. Also in hydroponics for sure, but we are testing also in soil. You can do it for
and it
sure.
Works great.
Sure, and it works great, perfectly.
Okay,
really good.
Now, what was the bio range? The bio range is really interesting because it's organic, 100%.
Yeah.
And what a lot of people experience with growing organically is that it tends to produce really good quality, but maybe slightly lower yields than the mineral feeds. But what you've done is put it into a powder form, made it easily accessible. I'd say that using this powdered organic range is going to allow more people to try organics and get really good results than using liquid form of organics.
Yeah, actually that we experienced that with our testers at the beginning. Was 2 years ago. We started to give away to some testers, good growers. We are talking about that. We know that they are really close to us, so we can go to his grow room and check out everything. And they were using also the mineral line. So I asked them, did you notice any difference between the yield? In the yield?
Yeah.
Between bio and the mineral? I say, not at all.
Yeah.
Only a few grams more on the mineral line, but it's almost the same with the organic. And I was like, seriously? But did you add something? Did you add extra things? I said, no, man, I just made what you told me. Mix the bio grow and mix the bio bloom. That's it. And just water. And I could see it with my eyes in many grow operations rooms and wow, There's almost no difference. And the difference that you see is in the terpene profile.
With the bio line?
With the bio line.
Just much better aromas, flavours.
Yeah. I love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. In the bio line, now, because it's bio, and what people struggle with growing organically is they don't realise the importance of microorganisms, that they have to break down the organics to allow the plant to uptake. What microorganisms are in the bio line? You mentioned some already, the bacillus.
Well, that's a difficult question, and I like that you asked me, because it's actually very difficult to answer the BioGrow and BioBloom. Because in an answer, we add some spores of Trichoderma and Bacillus amyloliquefacens.
Yeah.
So we know exactly which amount of spores they have.
Yeah.
But in the BioGrow and the BioBloom, it occurs naturally on the ingredients.
Okay.
So when we sent to SANlight, to make analysis a few years ago, what we got from the answer from the labs is like, it's going to cost you thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars because there is billions and we cannot count them. It's impossible almost. So it's occurring naturally. So we have since bacillus, lactobacillus, actinomycetes, cyanobacteria, we have all kind of fungi, all kind of trichodermas. It's almost everywhere.
Yeah.
So we decide just don't mention all of them because it's crazy and it doesn't fit in the bag.
Okay.
That's it,
Yeah.
So we just say, okay, there is beneficial fungus and bacteria like other brands. Like, can I mention other brands?
Yeah.
Like, for example, Grokashi?
Yeah.
No?
Grokashi is like a compost. I think it's a Japanese way of making compost.
Yeah, bokashi. It's called. Bokashi.
Yeah, and Grokashi is the brand. And
is the brand,
from Emerald Triangle or somewhere in Northern California.
And they have like activation to all these microorganisms. So we have almost the same microorganisms, but also we feed also the plant and the microorganism at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's really complete product because you almost don't need to buy more, beneficial fungus and bacteria. It's almost there. So it occurs naturally in some of the raw materials like the mulch germ, the sugar beet, the canola meal that we have. It occurs naturally on these ingredients. So when we mix it, they develop with the product.
Yeah.
So it's I cannot tell you 100% all of them.
But there's a shitload.
Really. We were really surprised, and we were trying for years to put everything on a list. And at one moment we decided it's a little bit crazy.
It's just not really measurable because they are not added. They are just really already in there.
Naturally occurring.
Naturally, yeah.
You've mentioned one there that spiked my interest. Bacillus amyloliquefacens.
Yeah.
I can never say it properly. But the reason I'm interested in this one is because it's in a product that we can't get in the UK. And I will say, this isn't you two saying, Bacillus amyloliquefacens is very, very good at preventing Pythium. Very good.
Yeah, we know that.
And I'm probably wrong, but I haven't seen it in it because I think I would remember if someone had mentioned that it's in their product. I've been trying to get this other product into the UK, but they can't register it because they say it does prevent Pythium. And again, they've got to register it, blah blah blah. So your product has got this bacillus in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is specifically in the enhancer.
In enhancer. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is very good for me.
Bacillus amyloliquefacens. Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to have to just say that 10 times when we finish the podcast so I can get it.
I had to do it when I learned for the first time. I knew it, but it was amyloliquefacens. It took me a couple of weeks.
I still don't say it. I only say bacillus.
It's a really good strain of bacteria. Very, very, probably the most effective strain that I've come across for preventing and getting rid of Pythium. And that's the bane of a DWC grower or a hydroponic grower's life, because it can just, if your roots are fucked, your plant's fucked. So this is literally happening on the podcast right now. I've now got to go and get all the samples of enhancer and just keep them to myself. So apologies for everyone that wanted enhancer samples. They're all mine.
I understand.
We will get some to you for yourself.
Yeah, no,
keep it for the customers.
I will. If you need it, but trust me, I haven't even used the product. but I know that this bacillus strain really works. I've done my research on it, so I'm really excited to get that out to people. Really excited to see how much pitting we can prevent from now on. Yeah. Now, I've got a couple of questions. As I was going through the products, I just wanted to raise some questions that the listeners may be interested in. And the first one is your decision to not use urea as a source of nitrogen, because urea, I know it's got pros and cons. It's a highly available form of nitrogen, but how come you didn't want to use it in your products?
Because urea, there's two things from the urea. It's the cheapest way to add nitrogen. Yeah. That's the first thing that people needs to know. Yeah. And we never choose the cheapest thing. Yeah. We want premium quality raw materials. Okay. So that was the first thing. Yeah. Okay. And actually, because there is a kind of a urea that it comes with a kind of component, let's say, kind of component that it can be toxic also for seedlings. Yeah. So it doesn't make sense for us to use a raw material that can be toxic for seedlings. Yeah. Especially in our products. So we just decide to just don't use urea anywhere.
So when you say toxic for seedlings, is that it's just too, because it's a form of nitrogen that very easily will burn the plant easily. So is it because seedlings are so, in a way, fragile, it can just ruin them?
It's because there is some urea that when they produce the urea, they don't clean it very well. Yeah. Okay, so that component, I think it's called purest. I can write you later so everybody can check out, that it's true. And it's a component on the urea that if you use it a lot, it remains on the soil and can kill the seedlings. So that's why,
especially for greenhouse seeds.
Yeah,
you don't want that shit in there.
Exactly. Yeah. So we knew that, and we just decided not to use that one. Okay. It brings a little bit some problems, it can bring in the future, so we don't want problems in the future. You know?
Just solutions.
Yeah, we just want solutions. We want a product that it works nice from A to Z.
Yeah, hands down. Next question is that do the powders contain any sulfur? Because sulfur is very good for quality of the plants.
Of course there is sulfur in the powder feeding. It's just because in some European laws, and it depends on the country, but mostly the mineral line, it's all by one law for European and also for America, and you are not obligated to say the content of the sulfur. So when you go into the whole law that tells you what you have to put in the stickers or in the packaging, you will never find sulfur. Yeah. So that's the reason we didn't put it. But there is more than enough sulfur for the plants. Yeah, we got that question many times. Yeah, but it's from magnesium sulfate.
Perfect. Excellent. Jan's been doing some research and he's got some fancy chemical molecules up on his Google images. Is this the image?
That's from the urea.
Oh, yeah. Biuret, purest, which is the compound from
I think I am right.
urea.
Try to put urea.
And we'll find out what this
I think it's that
component
one. My memory sometimes is not perfect.
Yeah, purest is a chemical compound with a chemical formula you don't need to know. It is also known as carbamylurea. That's a hard word to say. It is the result of condensation of 2 molecules of urea and is an impurity in the urea. So we don't want impurity shit.
No, not at all.
Perfect. So third question, in your feed, you guarantee it's free from heavy metals. How do you ensure this in the process? Is there a manufacturing process to remove the heavy metals, or do you just source the salts in the most pure form?
The second one. So here's the thing. Most of the raw materials, they can come from chemistry countries. I call chemistry countries like India and China. Yeah. Okay. It's true. All the industry comes from there. But it's funny because China is buying to us the powder feeding. You know why? Because everything is produced in German. Yeah. And German in Switzerland. So they have these two countries, especially Switzerland, they have one of the toughest, really tough law against heavy metals and minerals and all these things. So you have to be very, very, very clean in producing process. And you just can choose the ones that they have the limit of heavy metals lower than any other law in Europe or United States. So that's how we get a feeding that is really high soluble and with really, really low amounts of heavy metals. Most of them you cannot detect it with analysis.
Yeah.
You know, when you send to analytics in everywhere, United States, Europe, UK, whatever, you will see BDL, below detection limit.
Yeah.
And mostly in all of our heavy metals, you see that BDL, arsenic, BDL, lead, BDL, chromium, BDL. So that's how we get it.
Okay, so
just premium raw materials, really clean, that they are produced not in China, not in India. They're produced in Switzerland or in Germany.
Yeah.
No other place.
That's really good, especially for the organic range, the bio range, because it's going to be the organic growers. The organic growers tend to want the really good flavour, taste, but a lot of people in the UK want to grow organic vegetables. They want to eat themselves. They don't want the pesticides, because if they've got any health issues, they want to eat the cleanest food possible. But to go to other countries, like in America, where people are growing cannabis for medicinal use, they want to grow the cleanest cannabis possible. So, because they're starting to use cannabis. I didn't know if you know this, but cannabis is a medicine.
Actually, I'm a medical patient in Holland, so I know.
I don't know if this is breaking news for the podcast either. That was a recent podcast.
You say cannabis?
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah.
Cannabis?
It's
I don't know what it is.
So people that are growing it and consuming it, they want it to be the cleanest possible. That means no. PGRs is a hard one, isn't it? Because there's some PGRs that are okay, improve plant growth, and are not bad for human health. There's others that are really bad for
That's
human
also
health.
a lot of myths also about PGR, because they are really bad.
Yeah.
But they are synthetic. So people need to understand that there is a big difference between synthetic PGRs and the natural
Naturally
ones.
occurring PGRs.
Yeah, so for example, if you take seaweed extract from Ascophyllum nodosum, that almost all the brands, they have some product with Ascophyllum nodosum, so seaweed extract or kelp extract, whatever you want to call it. That seaweed extract, it has PGRs.
Yeah, tricantanol, I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tricantanol.
Yeah, abscenes, they have cytokinins, they have a lot of them.
Yeah.
But they are natural from them, so they are not dangerous for human being or for animals or for anybody.
Yeah.
So people need just to make that difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Synthetic versus naturally occurring PGRs.
Exactly.
Okay.
So there is no synthetic PGR in any of our products.
Yeah.
Nothing. Not a gram. Zero.
Not even in the mineral?
Nothing
at all. That's good to know. Very good to know. Last question for growers that like, and then this is getting back to the liquid fertilizer growers who have 10 bottles for everything, similar to me. They like to use root stimulators, veg boosters. Can they carry on using those, or when they're using the greenhouse powder, or is there literally everything from like root stimulation in these powders, or if they want to, can they add extra root stems?
Actually, if they want to use like a root stimulations, I will definitely recommend an answer.
Yeah.
It's compatible with everything, with any brand, with any product in the world.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. If you wanted to use it in your mineral line, you can use the enhancer as a root stimulator. You don't have to buy any other brand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same as in the
bio range. It's there anyway.
In the organic, it's already there.
So the enhancer through all the natural plant extracts and everything that's in it.
It's actually a blend of humic acid, fulvic acid, seaweed extract, Bacillus amyloliquefactions, and the Trichoderma harcianum.
Yeah.
So it's a mixture of these four things, what it makes a just great product.
Yeah. Jan dropped off some samples a while ago, didn't you? And when we're doing our testing in the lab, we're quite behind as well. So obviously it takes a lot of time to test the product, do side by side, take the fruits, get into the lab, analyze them. So if a product got dropped off today, we wouldn't have full extensive results and probably till next September by the time we've done full testing. But I also love the reason I love getting yourselves on to do podcasts and other people that have dropped products off is you can get a real sense that you can, even if you were talking bullshit today, which I know you're not, then I can get a sense for it and I can think, he's full of shit, this fella. He's just, this is someone that's reading from a book, and I can go, I'm not going to bother testing that product. And I'm really happy because I'm going to come out to this podcast really excited.
Thanks.
Mostly for the Bacillus amelioquensis and the enhancer. I'm really excited to try this product.
I know there's a lot of people like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I am genuinely excited. 2-3 weeks ago, we've sent out samples to the giant veg community in the UK because they're about to really step up their gardening for the summer. The growers that come to the shops, I'm gonna hand pick yours if you don't know about it. But if you come in and ask for it, you'll get a sample pack, mineral or bio. I am very, very excited to use this. And again, if you're a listener, if they're in the US, because this is a little bit of a problem for us. 60% of our, 45% of our subscribers are US based, and I love that. 35% are UK based. Now we get a lot of people from the US saying, really enjoyed that podcast. Where can I get your samples from? And we're like, it costs us a lot of money to just send products to the US, and we just can't do it because we'd have 10 people asking for samples. It might cost us over £100. Yeah. Where could our US listeners potentially get samples from?
Well, I think in almost all California, it should be, because our distributor is based in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure, and actually have a lot of friends that they are working for other brands, and they told me, man, I see your product more time in especially in South California. Yeah, it's getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Like from San Diego to LA, it's getting more famous. So I think in almost all the shops, if you go there and you just ask, or they know our product because we've been there already.
Yeah.
Or they have it already.
Okay.
So I think...
What's the distributor's name for any shops in the US that might listen?
Yeah, well, shops, I don't know all the names.
Yeah, no. Where would the shops in the US get? Yeah, what's the distributor's name?
It's Global Gardening.
Global Gardening. Yeah. And they're based in LA?
In LA.
Okay, so if there's any shops listening in the US and you're interested in getting your hand on samples, Global...
But we have sales rep also in Michigan, in Colorado, we have in Massachusetts.
What's his name or her name? What's his name or her name?
Of the people?
Of the rep.
Oh, the rep. There is a lot.
Oh, is that?
We have Jeff. We have the...
You're just smashing it out, yeah.
Yeah, we have Brandon. We have a lot of them. Eric.
Okay, shout out to all the US reps as well. Shout out to all the US reps.
Yeah.
Keep working hard. And
they work very, very hard, They are a really nice team.
But no McDonald's.
No McDonald's.
Don't go near that McDonald's. You won't get paid for it.
I just want to add also, we also do a lot of expos and trade shows in the US, so people can also get the samples there. Come talk to us, ask questions.
Actually, we are going to be in 28th of April. I think at the end of the month there is a show in Auckland or close to Auckland, but it's the Indo Expo.
Yeah.
And we will be there in the booth 444. 444.
Okay, go and check them out then.
Yeah, we will there giving samples to everybody. So if somebody is really interested to get some samples, they can get it there. Yeah. Just go to Auckland, Indo Expo, we will be there. And you will meet me there. I will be there.
Yeah, man. And listen, spend time because very, very knowledgeable person, very easy to talk to. Just before we get onto the social media and where you've got your social media, just thank you very much for because you flew here to do the podcast, didn't you?
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that. Thank you from the bottom of your heart.
Thanks to you. To all the team.
Yeah, thank you very much. What is the website so people can check you out a bit further?
Probably Jan can
It's greenhousefeeding.com.
Yeah.
And people from the US can just click on the US flag and check out all the information there. And the rest of the world clicks on the other side. Yeah. Instagram, we are at Greenhouse Feeding. And for the USA, where we are allowed to show pictures of medicinal cannabis plants, it's Greenhouse Feeding _USA.
Yeah.
So if you have Facebook is Greenhouse Feeding and YouTube is also Greenhouse Feeding, so you can find us everywhere.
And what's the YouTube channel if you want to catch, if they haven't already been watching Arjan and Franco traveling around the world doing the projects? What is that?
That's the Strain Hunters and Greenhouse Seed Co.
Yeah, Strain Hunters and Greenhouse Seed Company. The big question though for the UK is, will you be at the AutoPot Festival in August?
We will probably be there. It's just not sure yet who will come. But one of us will be there, I think.
As long as one of you are there.
When is in August?
August the 18th, 19th.
18th. I don't know. Somebody has to be there.
Yeah. It's a good festival. It's a private festival. for the UK industry. If the weather's nice, it's just brilliant.
It's really nice. Good. I've been there 2 years ago. Last year I didn't make it, unfortunately, but it was very nice, very good experience. It's nice because it's close. You only have shops there. It's very special. It's an event. I think the rest of the world doesn't have events like that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Then I want to go.
You got to come. We'll be there with the media team. So if you're going to release the new product that you've been working on, make sure you tell us first.
I will remember that conversation. We have testers here so they can try. Perfect.
One last thing, one top tip from myself. You may disagree, but if you've got a busy schedule and you don't want to switch completely over to a whole new range, which is completely understandable, I'd basically be getting a sample of the enhancer or buying the enhancer. That for me is the most exciting product in the range. Would you say if there was one product that a grower was going to try, what would you recommend?
Sorry,
I would recommend the enhancer. If there is a person just to try one product of our range, which one will be the product you're the most excited about?
Yeah, wow.
I agree. I'm with the enhancer.
I will say enhancer top one.
Yeah. And
then if I have to say two more products, wow. BioGrow, I love it too, but BioBloom is crazy. No, it's crazy because I'm even surprised. I didn't expect that results. Remember, Jan? I was even surprised when I got that resin production. The taste was so clean at the end. So I will say the organic line. Okay. The whole organic line, it's if you can get the starter kit, which we have the starter kit, and you just can try in a, I don't know.
It's for 20 liters of soil.
Yeah, 20 liters, which is like 5 gallon pots.
Only water, nothing else.
You can have with the starter kit for 5 gallon pot.
Yeah.
On the whole plan. And if you can do like that, I used to recommend that last year in Spanavis. And as I told you before, we have a massive feedback from people. It's like, where are my samples? I want more. And it's like, no, this year there's no sample free, It's like, no, but I want it. That product really works, Everybody was like, okay, so if you buy a seed, I give you a free sample. Everybody was buying seeds, because they want the free sample of fertilizer.
Yeah, that was the most seed sales you've ever done in 3 days for people to buy the fertilizer.
It was crazy this year. A lot of American people also there, and
more and more
every year. Yeah, and it's getting bigger, Spanavis, and that's good for us to have a massive feedback from a lot of people that we gave away last year's samples, and this year we got the feedback. This never happened to us.
Yeah,
like we got that really straight feedback right away.
Yeah.
So now everybody's happy with the organic and the mineral line. Now everybody wants to try. At the beginning, I remember people didn't believe us. It's like, no, this is not going to work.
In the beginning, it was really difficult to introduce powder to the shops, to the customers, because everybody was using liquids.
Yeah.
And people were really laughing at us and say, you're never going to make it with powder. But because we already used the product for many years, we knew it works.
Yeah,
so people just have to try it to see that it works. So in my opinion, I'm a sales rep, but I rather have the product sell itself.
Yeah.
Try it, see the results, and it will convince you. That's my way of selling the product.
Yeah, it's easy. It's actually very easy. So definitely, I will say your enhancer is the product that you should try.
Yeah.
Give a chance. And I'm pretty sure if you are happy, then try the BioGrow and BioBloom because you will love it.
Okay.
You will love it. I'm 100% sure.
Excellent.
Really.
Thank you very much.
Even if you are a pure mineral grower, then the PK booster is the product to try.
Yeah.
If people don't want to mix organic and mineral, with the PK booster, just use your base nutrients as usual and give the PK boost.
Powder.
They will see powder works.
Yeah.
That is easy.
Just as I want to comment something that this morning I was talking to Jan. It's like, man, I have a customer that he was using the booster for the first time and he has like 700 lights. I'm not going to tell where is he or who or whatever, but he has 700 lights. And he told me that the workers, he started now to wearing long t-shirts for the first time. He said because they got so stinky on the hairs of the arms that they have to shave all the arms, because they couldn't remove.
Clumps together on the arms.
Yeah, so since they are using booster PK now, everybody's wearing long shirt because they never experienced that resin production on the same strain.
Do you know what I thought you were going to say then? all the workers at this facility have had to start wearing long sleeves because it's so easy to mix the powder that they're not working as hard anymore, and they're starting to get cold because they're not sweating from mixing liquid nutrients. It's like, a little bit of powder, job done. Let's go and rest. And they're getting chilly after wear long sleeves.
That's actually a good point also to say, because you have less time mixing your nutrients. You can spend more time with your plants and really take care of them.
Yeah, which is a super bonus.
Yeah, and mineral line actually is very stable on the water. I think everybody should know this.
Yes.
Because once you adjust the pH or whatever, normally it's really tries to pretend to be on 6.0 on the pH, but you can get a little bit lower, of course, you know. So if you adjust the pH, it's gonna be like that for at least 1 week.
Yeah.
But I've been out of the crop for 21 days with the same tank, just moving. After 3 weeks, I just came back home. I measured the pH, and it was only 0.2 higher. That's it.
Yeah. So it's really well buffered
after
as well.
3 weeks. So we always recommend to everybody, no, in 1 week. We can guarantee you 1 week. But we experienced some points that even 3 weeks, and the pH and the EC remains the same properties, same everything.
Yeah.
Plants looking great. And I was like, wow, that for hydroponic people, especially for people who is doing DWC, ebb and flow, and all these things that they have to change all the water, it can be great to have that.
Yeah, definitely. DWC, because I'm a DWC grower, and the maintaining control of the pH is probably one of the things that you have to spend the most amount of time on.
It's tough.
You're like, do I keep it in the right range, or am I adding that much pH down that it's starting to affect? You're adding that much pH down and phosphoric acid, and it's becoming phosphorus, and phosphorus, we know, is excess phosphorus is going to interact with things.
Exactly.
And then you're like, oh, I won't do it this time, and it got above. Oh, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare.
know,
So having a really well buffered nutrient is a godsend for a DWC grower. So that is good news. I think that is everything. One more thing: UK shops, if they want samples, what is your Instagram, Jan?
It's Jan, JAN_greenhouse.
Cool.
Or they can contact our distributor, Growth Technology.
Yeah. Shout out Growth Technology.
Shout out to Dani and George on the road.
No, you are all working hard in the office. You don't get to come and chill out at NPK headquarters today. just for the greenhouse guys.
Today, I think,
Listen, once again, thank you very much. I really appreciate you taking the time to come out. I know you're super busy, both of you. So appreciate it. Thank you very much. What I'm going to do as well is we're going to finish on a song. We always finish on a tune for the podcast listeners. I think you should choose the song, and I'm putting it on your toes now. This wasn't in the note. What's your favourite song? We'll remix it, and you can listen to the song. Coatsy does a remix, wicked remix.
So I can just say any song?
It won't come on right now, but Coatsy will take the song, play with it, and then the podcast listeners will get to listen to it. It's a nice way to end the podcast.
I think we should do one. I just have to look it up.
You choose, Jan.
Yeah. So Jan's going to choose. He's fiddling through his Instagram now. I think I know where you're going to go with this one. Let's see. Into YouTube. Into his Franco Loja.
Oh, yeah. Good choice.
Can't find the song.
Has to be that one.
And he's going to try and find the song.
For our brother.
Yeah. And it's a really nice way to end the podcast.
Yeah.
If you can't find it on YouTube, we'll get into post-production and we'll find it. And it's going to be Double Sense featuring Monkey J Ham. And if we press play on this, you get it. We're going to play this one, Coates. This is a shout out to Franco, bro. Made a massive change to the industry. Take me out off to you. Much love. See you all next week. Bye-bye.
Mão que manda balsense vem cantar pra toda a nação. Francolúbia, de profissional. Francolúbia, original farmer. Francolúbia, de ganja master. Francolúbia, de great warrior. Francolúbia, esteja bom lugar. Se você não conhece, então eu vou apresentar. Guerreiro combatente pelo bem dessa terra. Mensageiro de luz que veio pra transformar. Cultivando a erva, ele pôde ajudar milhares de famílias com a renda que ela dá. Combatendo a pobreza e milhares de doenças. cenário, um cotidiano violento. Peço mais amor pra esse mundo turbulento. Peço mais respeito na hora do sacramento. Planta sagrada que nasce da terra e eleva o pensamento. Nos faz raciocinar um cotidiano violento. Peço mais amor pra esse mundo turbulento. Peço mais respeito na hora do sacramento. Conhecimento ancestral, processo natural. A ganja, marihuana e seu poder medicinal. Física espiritual, plena transformação. Sacramento sagrado além do plano carnal. Conhecimento ancestral, processo natural. A ganja, marihuana e seu poder medicinal. Física espiritual, plena transformação. Sacramento sagrado além do plano carnal.